In June, the median home price across Central Texas climbed to $443,000, the highest it's been all year. Sounds like a red-hot seller's market, right? Except in that same exact month, more than half of the active listings sitting on the market had already cut its price, 54%. Now, a record high median and a wave of price cuts. At the same time, those two things shouldn't be true, but they are. And that one contradiction tells you almost everything about where this market is heading in the back end of 2026. So stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly who has the leverage right now, and it's probably not who you think. All right, welcome back. This is your June 2026 Central Texas Market Report, built straight from the Unlock MLS data, pulled July 3rd. Now, we're covering three things today. First, what's really happening with the market, with home prices and sellers. Second, the buyer side, inventory price drops and where the actual deals are hiding. And then finally, third, a complete separate breakdown of the rental market. So stay tuned. Now, if the market data like this helps you make smarter moves, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with sellers, because the headline number is genuinely strong. The median sale price in June was $443,000. That's up 3.2% from a year ago, and month over month, it jumped from about $425,000 in May. Now, that's roughly a 4.5% climb in a single month. And look at the trajectory this year. January started at $391. And prices have climbed almost every single month since then. $399, $414, $422, $425, and now $443. Now, that's about a 13% run up in just 6 months. Now, the average sell price, it tells an even richer story. It hit $606,000, up 6.5% year over year, and price per square foot ticked up to $259 a square foot. Now, when the average is outrunning the median like that, it usually means the upper end of the market is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I'll explain. And hold that thought a minute, because it really, really matters. So no one feels like the market is doing well, because here's where it gets complicated. Closed sales actually fell down to about 3,300 in June from 3,500 in May. And that's down slightly, 0.6% from last year. Homes took a little longer to sell too. Median days on market climbed from 33 days in May to 39 days in June, and sellers are not getting full price. The typical home closed at about 2.4% under the asking price, with a list to close ratio right around 94%. By the way, the reason that number is different, price reductions. When you don't get that price right initially, you sell for less. Period. Sellers, please. Trying to start high does not make you more money. All right, so what's going on? Now, this is a classic spring and summer seasonality. The best inventory lists in these months. Buyers with kids move before school, and that pushes the monthly median to a yearly peak. But zoom out to the annual numbers and the story flips. The 2026 median is actually tracking lower than 2025, which was lower than 2024, which was lower than 2023. 3 years of declining median price point, and 2026 is tracking so far for a fourth consecutive year of median values down. So we've got a strong seasonal moment sitting on top of a slowly softening year. Again, prices are up in June, but the leverage is quietly shifting, and that's exactly why. If you're a seller, the median price is almost useless to you. Your home isn't the median. It's a specific house in a specific neighborhood, in a specific price range that might be red hot, like Westlake, or ice cold, like Pflugerville. So in a market where the average is climbing, but homes are still closing under asking, pricing it right in week one is the whole game. So here's the first thing I want to offer you. I'll put together a personalized appraisal report for your specific address, real comps, real days on market for your street, and a realistic list price. It's completely free. Just click on the link in the description below. I'll get that appraisal report to you. No obligations. By the way, homeowners who own rental property, stay tuned until the end. I have a surprise on a rental market report for you, and this is just for you. Now, let's talk about buyers, because this is where it gets really interesting. Here's the number sellers don't love and buyers should tattoo on their arm. There were 16,985 active listings at the start of July. We're up from that number, by the way. We're pushing almost 18,000 as of today, mid-July. Almost 18,000 homes on the market as of today. So that's a 5-month supply, 5.5 month supply. For context, anything around 6 months is considered a balanced market. Now, we're right on the edge of that, and in some price ranges, we're tipping into buyer's market territory already. And certainly, buyer's energy feels like they have the advantage. They're taking their time. They're squeezing negotiations in their favor. And any listing agent will tell you it's revenge of the buyers from 2022. I mean, buyers were getting beat up and slapped around in 2022, and it was all about the sellers. Well, buyers are back, and it's revenge of the buyer. But the real tell is the price cuts. A little over 9,000 of those active listings, 54%, have already reduced their asking price. More than half. And on the homes that closed in June after a cut, the average reduction was about 8%. Even wilder, the median listing the median listing waits just 16 days before the seller blinks and drops the price. 16 days. Now, that's a market where patience pays for buyers. Now, where are the opportunities? This is the part most reports skip. Let's break this down by price range. The luxury market is on fire on volume. Sales of homes over $1 million are up double digits year over year. The $1 to $1.2 million range is up almost 11%, and 1.4 million plus up nearly 13%. But this is the catch. Those same luxury buyers are negotiating the hardest, closing around 3.9% under the asking price, and there's just over a 7-month supply up at the top end. So if you're a luxury buyer, you may have room to negotiate. The disclaimer is some of these hotter luxury neighborhoods simply don't have inventory, and in those cases, buyers are paying at or over asking price for properties that are priced right. Meanwhile, the bread and butter middle, that $300,000 to $500,000 range, is where sales volume actually softened, down 9% year over year. Fewer buyers competing there right now means less bidding pressure and more negotiating room in the most popular price range in Central Texas. The tightest, the most competitive pockets, the $600,000 to $700,000 range and the $1.2 million range, both sitting at 4.5 month supply. Those are spots where you still feel a little heat. If the price is right, you won't have as much leverage as a buyer. And again, depending on the area, Southwest is a little more competitive than Northwest. And one more signal that the floor isn't falling out. New homes going under contract in June jumped 12% year over year. So demand is very much alive. Buyers are just being far more selective and far more willing to walk. We're seeing that in negotiations. Buyers are walking a lot more easily. Now, you might have been asking, why is this happening? Why are $1 million buyers charging they're charging in while the middle of the market's pulling back? So here's what I think's really going on. At the top end, mortgage rates barely matter. A lot of those buyers are paying cash, or they're using large down payments, so the difference between a 5% and a 7% rate is basically noise to them. On top of that, the migration from California and other high-tax states is still tilted heavily luxury. Someone selling a $3 million home in the Bay Area can land in West Lake, pocket the difference, and eliminate state income tax going forward. And in a strong stock market, making higher net worth households feel wealthier, like right now, you get exactly what you're seeing. Patient buyers finally pulling the trigger because they feel that they can finally negotiate a real discount. Now, the middle's a completely different story. If you bought a $350,000 home in 2020 with a 3% mortgage, moving up to a $500,000 home today would roughly double your monthly payment. So the natural move-up cycle is frozen. People are staying put. Layer in Texas property taxes running 2% or more of value. Homeowners insurance that's climbed dramatically over the last few years. And a tech job market cooled off from the 2021 hiring frenzy. And the middle-income Austin buyer just doesn't have the room they had 3 years ago. So what you're really seeing when the average outpaces the median isn't prices exploding, it's the mix shifting. Fewer middle market sales, more luxury sales, same houses, same neighborhoods, different buyers doing different things. And the mix shift is quietly changing what the market average price even means. Here's the thing though. Half the market is cutting prices, but the genuinely great deals, a lot of them never make it to public sites. Pre-market listings, coming soon properties, sellers testing the waters quietly with new flex listings, builder standing inventory that never gets syndicated to the MLS. That's where real value can hide. So here's my second offer. I keep a running list of off-market and coming soon properties across Central Texas that you won't find online. If you want that list, click on the link in the description and we can figure out properties available in your price range and area. No cost, no pressure. Just hit that link. All right. Completely different market. Now let's talk rentals. Whether you're an investor, a landlord, or just deciding between buying and renting, this section's for you. And the story here is very different from the sales side. The median lease in June was $2,175. And notice, that's actually down 1% from a year ago. Rents in Central Texas aren't rising. They're drifting sideways to slightly down. The average price per square foot sat at $1.53, essentially flat. But here's the number that should get every landlord's attention. The number of signed leases fell 9.3% versus last year, and month-over-month leasing activity flatlines from about 2,680 leases in May to 2,600 in June. All right, zoom out and the trend is even clearer. The annual median rent has drifted down almost every year from about $2,208 back in June 2022 to roughly $2,099 in 2026. So in a stretch where home prices climbed, rents actually gave a little back. And the one bright spot for landlords, quality units still move fast. Median days on market for a rental is just 22 days. Now, flat with last year. Price it right, and it leases. Overprice it, and it still sits while 3 comparable units down the street undercut you on price. And anyone weighing renting versus buying, well, this is the tension in a nutshell. Rents are soft and flat, which makes renting easier to justify in the short term. But with over half of home sellers cutting prices and real negotiation room out there, patient buyers have leverage. And they've had that more than they've had in a while. So which one wins for you depends entirely on your timeline and, of course, your financial status. I love having those conversations and running the math with you. So back to the contradiction we opened with. A record high June median and half the market cutting prices. How are both true? Because this is a two-speed market. Well-priced, move-in ready homes with a desirable price are still selling in the spring-summer window. And those quality sales plus a strong luxury tier are what pushed the median to a yearly high. Meanwhile, a growing pile of overpriced, stale inventory, a lot of it at the higher end, is what's driving that wave of price cuts. Inventory is not selling because of the market. It's not selling because it's priced too high. Sellers have to decide if they're willing to get in alignment with what buyers are willing to pay right now. The numbers are clear. The median tells you what's selling. The price cuts tell you where the leverage is. And right now, that leverage is sliding steadily towards the buyers. Sellers can still win, but only if they price like it's a buyer's market, because increasingly it's becoming more and more one. There's your June 2026 Central Texas market report. Quick recap. Prices hit a seasonal high, but the annual trend is softening. Buyers are gaining real leverage with more than half of listings cutting their prices, and rents are flat to down with landlords competing harder, but still leasing faster if they're leased right. Remember, clarity is power. No question. Our conversation is ever too small. I'm talking to buyers and sellers like you every day. Click that link below to connect at the Vision Realty Group. Your vision is my mission. Stay tuned.